Hey, folks, just wanted to say a quick word about our invite-only growth strategy deep dive session that's happening this Thursday, May the 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So this is an exclusive small group growth strategy meeting led by Taylor Holiday and our VP of e-commerce strategy, Luke Austin. And the session is tailored specifically for high-performing e-commerce leaders. You'll join a group of qualified operators in a focused 1-hour discussion on how to assess and evolve your brand's growth engine for long-term capital efficient scale. Now, spots are going fast. There's only 25 seats available, and it's exclusively for 8 to 9 figure e-com brand leaders. So check out the link in the show notes. Let us know you're interested. And if you qualify, we will see you on the call. This episode of the e-commerce playbook is brought to you by Mercury. Here at Common Thread Collective, we know that cash flow is everything, especially right now. That's why we always recommend that our clients use Mercury to manage their banking, capital, and cards all from one place. Mercury lets you receive funds, generate invoices, and send free international and domestic wires in US dollars. Mercury also gives you instant access to virtual credit cards and 1.5% cash back across all your spend. Plus, if you need inventory or advertising, try Mercury's founder-friendly capital. Mercury brings all the ways you use money into one product that feels extraordinary to use. Deposit $5,000 or spend $5,000 using your Mercury credit card within your first 90 days to earn $250, or do both for $500 in total rewards. Just go to mercury.com/CTC to give it a try with no minimum deposits. That's mercury.com/CTC. Mercury is a technology company, not a bank. Check show notes for details.
Welcome back to another episode of the e-commerce playbook podcast. It's a solo mission today. We're doing a quick one with it being Memorial Day, most of the crew out of office, but I did want to jump in, stick with our weekly cadence. And I was inspired this weekend by one of the amazing brands that we get to work with and their CMO, who is a close friend. This is George at Cozy Earth. George, you're going to love this shout out, man. Pocket this because you're not getting a ton more compliments. But George, we've been working with Cozy Earth for a while now. And they're one of the brands. It's a large business with a complex media mix where we've spent a bunch of time and energy working towards clarity around channel impact and measurement and incrementality. And they've had a bunch of conflicting reads from various partners. And it's been hard to sort out. And it's beginning to feel Quagmire-y, where you start to feel like every new piece of information just causes further confusion in the pot. And this is for anybody that's been deep down the attribution, incrementality, measurement rabbit trail. There's sort of this journey that everybody must go on to eventually reach a really important conclusion, which is that there is no answer and that we aren't actually in pursuit of right. There is no way to know or to ever establish definitive objective right. What we can do is be thoughtful about establishing a system that I like to call your best available truth, which is to say we have a commitment to a progressive idea of what the impact is in each channel, informed by a clear testing roadmap, good test design, in a way that allows us to continually build a growing stack of knowledge. But that's not even enough, because once that knowledge exists, it's very easy to poke holes and undermine and constantly build a lack of confidence in then operationalizing that knowledge. And so instead, what George and I had a conversation with on the golf course in Las Vegas recently was that for him in particular, as the CMO, the amount of energy and time and brain space that was being occupied by this quagmire was actually causing an impact and impairing him from going and doing the only thing that he could do inside of an organization, which is to come up with the ideas that are high risk, that have a chance to break you out of a local maxima, to disproportionately generate return beyond the day-to-day. And so what we sort of collaborated on was how could we and your team, they have an awesome team at Cozy Earth, get to a level of trust where he recognizes that even though there's moments where we'll be wrong, we have a system for establishing best available truth. We can act on it for a period of time. We can assess the impact, and the delta is going to be small enough. They're a healthy, good business that he can leave us with that decision-making and allow himself to go and work on the big ideas. to free his brain from that quagmire. And so this was a dialogue that we were happening. And he left there and he did it. He took and built himself a large list and took his brain out of that day-to-day measurement slog and created space for him to think bigger, to go occupy the place that only he can as the leader. And this weekend, I saw some of the fruit of that. And I want to just shout it out. And I think it's important to illustrate these kinds of actions. You know, we care a lot about peaks and moments and generation here. But this weekend, I was scrolling TikTok. I didn't even know this was going to happen, but I saw inside of the Cozy Earth HQ, they were doing a challenge, and it was like their account was live on TikTok. And so I looked, and it was the bed rot challenge, where they had sort of taken a page out of maybe the Mr. Beast playbook a little and created a challenge for 5 of their employees to see who could be the last to get out of bed. They brought these beds into their office because Cozy Earth sells bed sheets and pajamas. So they're all in branded product. Their CEO's there. George is there on the mic. And over the course of 5 days, these people still might be in bed. It's Monday right now. Not totally sure. But I texted him. I said, hey, man, I keep seeing this come up in my feed. Thousands of comments. They're actually running some paid promotion behind it. And I said, well, how is this going? Is this working? And he shared with me that over the course of the weekend, they've generated 10 million impressions. And this is not a brand that generally has a massive social following right off the bat, but they've generated 10 million views. They had 200,000 people on the live at various points in time. So a massive amount of impressions and awareness on what was functionally a very easy thing to pull off with their own people inside of their own office with their own product. And the sales impact, we're still measuring, we're checking it out. But regardless, what I love is this is an out-of-the-box way to understand social native behavior for a brand in a way that highlights products, builds community and relationship with your organization, humanizes the brand even. I've seen a lot of this kind of content lately where there's ads that there's a brand, I don't know, I wish I could shout them out specifically, that's doing ad content where it's their employees, like 2 women will go, hey, we're going to dress up Mikey today and style him. I mean, Mikey's an employee and it's a men's apparel brand, and 2 women will actually use their clothes to style Mikey for a barbecue or whatever. And it's like, it's so natural and authentic that it builds connection. It also allows a really cool way for guys watching fashion content is always a little weird, right? Like, here's a guy doing UGC. It's not really the kind of content that I think is necessarily natural for men to consume, but this idea of 2 women styling a guy and their impression and reaction to it, there's something about that that's really compelling.
Trusted by more than 200,000 startups, small businesses, and e-commerce companies, plus many of our clients here at CTC, Mercury gives you the ability to manage your banking, capital, and cards all from one place. E-commerce Playbook podcast listeners get $250 by depositing $5,000 or spending $5,000 using the Mercury credit card within your first 90 days, or do both for $500 at mercury.com/CTC. Mercury is a technology company, not a bank. Check show notes for details.
So they also picked up, 5 digits in followers, so perpetual relationship with customers. And I just loved it. I loved it as an out-of-the-box idea to take a shot, to build relationship, to go do the thing that CMOs are uniquely positioned to do, to create the kinds of moments that nobody in the organization is really incentivized in many ways to take those kinds of chances. Their job is to sort of deliver against the target, and they're always going to sort of map their behavior as big as the expectation you give them. And you want to be fair and set realistic goals. And so oftentimes one of the problems is we have this goal mechanism that doesn't actually incentivize that kind of thinking. And so you get stuck with this behavioral pattern of just trying to slightly improve. And so there's this trust that we can develop in relationship. And this is often what I experience in the best partnerships that we have with CTC. I've talked about this with BG, with Born Primitive, with others, where they recognize their role in the relationship is to go and do those kinds of things inside of their organization, to design the next product, to build the big next moment, and to trust us with the distribution and measurement along the way and hold us accountable to the expectation and let us drive towards it. And so it's a progressive thing. We're working through this, but there's 2 keys that I want to leave you with on this Memorial Day. And I'm glad hopefully this is a quick one. You're by the pool, hopefully enjoying a drink and your day off. Is 1, there is freedom in the idea of the best available truth. This terminology gives you permission to understand that 1, you may be wrong. In fact, you probably are wrong. But 2, you're allowed to change your mind in the future. You can update your priors. You can improve the information. And it's a never-ending quest for knowledge. We're building a progressively developing stack of information. And that's really important. And if you can instill that idea, it's going to give people freedom to act. Say, hey, we ran a test. It was thoughtful. We did it with good design. We did it the experiment correctly. We executed, we got a result. And for a period of time, we're going to act on that because it's the best available information we have. What we're not going to do is undermine all the reasons why it might not be perfect, because that's a grand temptation. And in fairness, you may be right in its imperfection, but the alternative also is subject to the same amount of scrutiny. So we decided on this path. We're going to act on it. We're going to operationalize it for a period of time. We can update it. We could build the next test. We can add to our growing knowledge base, but that's freedom. And we're not going to undermine ourselves all the time, every day, by second guessing the process. Execute the process, assess the impact on a wider horizon, and then change and constantly add knowledge to it. Then from there, marketing leaders, CMOs, CEOs, and I say this to myself very much. I recognize this in my own leaders, is that I often am the only one that possesses the capacity to go do things that don't actually logically add up to a very specific outcome, to try to break the pattern. And these kinds of actions are worth pointing out, whether they drive disproportionate revenue on day one or not. They're the kinds of actions that build an organization towards doing really cool things that will get noticed, that will get attention, that do cut through the feed and don't look like everything else. So, George, Memorial Day, cheers to you. Keep it up. And for everyone else, amidst all of the challenge of trying to sort out the exact right attribution model, build a system of measurement that you believe is thoughtful, execute against that premise for a period of time, reassess, and release perfection in measurement. Release the idea of being right. Subscribe to a best available truth, and then go take your brain and try and do something freaking awesome this week. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for stopping by on Monday.